Monday, August the 10th. Let's do a roll call of board members, please, Mrs. Kukla.
Thanks, Madam Chair. Ms. Faith?
I'm here.
Sorry, I didn't mean to do it when you were taking a drink. Mr. Donovan? Mr. Donovan?
Here.
And Ms. Barnes? Did I hear her or no?
No, she's not on the list, unless she's a
Okay.
call-in user.
And Mrs. Johnson?
Yes.
Mrs. Johnson, we have a quorum.
Okay, let's read the preamble.
Okay, thank you. Again, my name is Liz Kukla. I'm the Secretary of the Board of Zoning Appeals, and I'm going to read this preamble for our meeting this morning. In compliance with notification requirements of Ohio's open meeting law, under COVID-19 emergency declaration, notice of this meeting has been publicly posted. All boards and commissions under the purview of the City Planning Department conduct its meetings according to Robert's Rules of Order. Actions during the meeting will be taken by voice vote. Abstentions from any vote due to a conflict of interest should be stated for the record prior to the taking of any vote. In order to ensure that everyone participating in the meeting have the opportunity to be heard, we ask that you use the raise hand feature before asking a question or making a comment. The raise hand feature can be found in the participants panel on the desktop and mobile version and activated by clicking the hand icon. Please wait for the chair or the facilitator to recognize you and be sure to select unmute and announce yourself before you speak. When finished speaking, please lower your hand by clicking on the raised hand icon again and mute your microphone. We will also be utilizing the chat feature to communicate with participants. The chat feature can be activated by clicking the chat button located on the bottom of the WebEx screen. All meeting activity is being recorded via WebEx platform. These proceedings are also being live streamed via YouTube for the public view. We have provided a link to the meeting for those who wish to speak on a particular case via our website and email. We have also received emails from those who have provided written comments on a particular matter. And back to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. We did the roll call. Do we have any postponements or withdrawals? None today. Okay, moving right along. Ms. Faith?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Calendar number 20-67 at 48 South Street. Rick Mike Sale, owner, proposes to erect a two-story frame reverse gable detached garage in a A1 one-family residential district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinance as stated in the agenda and the public record.
Thank you very much. Mr. Donovan?
Yes, would everyone for this case kindly raise your right hand? I'm going to read a statement. At the end of this statement, I'm looking for a response from you that says, I do, and give me your name. So here we go. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do, and I'm Rick Mike Sell.
Can I hear you right now?
Anyone else?
I do, Justin Washburn.
Okay, anyone else?
I do.
Christina Washburn.
Okay. Anyone else?
I do, Jen Mikesell.
Okay, anybody from city planning here?
Maurice Rowlands, I'm here.
Okay, you'll be testifying.
I do.
All right.
I do, Kadzima Timachani.
You're for a different case, I believe,
Oh,
right? The
sorry.
Cable Avenue?
Yeah, sorry.
Don't worry, you'll have your opportunity.
Okay, it seems we've exhausted everyone.
Okay.
Move on to history.
Okay, history of the property, Mrs. Kukla.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There's been no change in the zoning since 1929. In the records room, I found a permit was issued in 1950 to erect a single-family dwelling and a garage. In 1965, a permit was issued to erect a rear addition. 1969, a permit was issued to demolish and erect a private garage. There are no variances on file for this address. And in the more recent history, I found in 2011, a permit was issued to install ornamental wood picket fence. 2012, There were interior and exterior alterations to convert and enclose a front porch. 2019, a permit was issued to raise the garage and remove the foundation. That was in October of 2019. And then December of 2019, a permit was issued to install a new garage pad with the footings. And that's all that I have, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. According to the law department, the legal standard will be judging case on Ms. Wagner.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. Appellant is requesting area variances from the accessory building requirements of the zoning code. To obtain the area variances, appellant must prove that denying the request will create a practical difficulty not generally shared by other land or buildings in the same district, will deprive the appellant of rental property rights, and that granting the variances will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code.
Thank you very much. Mr. Maxwell, tell us exactly what you'd like to do.
We'd like to build or have our garage. We just want to build a garage as big as the city allows.
Well, why do we have to have it 981.2 square feet? Are you going to have a residence up above?
No, I have a lot of tools, and I have to store them. In the 18 years we've lived here, I have not been able to park my car in the garage because of all my tools, and I would love to have a second level to store them.
You're not going to be repairing anything in this garage, are you?
Repairing anything?
Yes, I mean, you're not housing it for repair of other people's cars or whatever.
Oh, no.
Is it going to have water and heat and everything in the upstairs?
No, there's no plans for that.
Who else is on this case? Somebody named Washburn?
Yes, my wife and I are on the call. We live at 4860 West 12th Street, right across the street from the garage.
Yes.
The Mike Sell's garage burned down last year in kind of a tragic incident, and I think an electrical fire from their vehicle that was kind of a freak occurrence. And it's encouraging to me to see someone who responds to that by improving their property and adding value, when faced with that unexpected hurdle. I know our home is directly across from the garage, and I think it actually adds value to the neighborhood and is a nice addition, in my opinion.
And your wife have anything to say?
I mean, honestly, I don't have anything to add. It's just, it looks beautiful. We're in support of anything that just contributes to the neighborhood aesthetic and property value. I could definitely attest to Rick is always, working and helping neighbors out with jobs too. So I can attest to how many tools he has. So yeah, I'm in support of it.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Washburn. We have a letter on the screen from Jessica Betancourt, who also is a neighbor at 487. Oh, no, she's right on West 12th Street, and she's also in support. Anybody else on this case, Maureen?
That's all we have, Madam Chair.
Okay. City of Cleveland Planning, are you
Yes.
representing planning, Maurice?
I am. We recommend approval for this project. Of course, we don't like seeing, approving things that have already been constructed. But I think this is a good addition to the neighborhood, and we have no objections.
Thank you very much. If there are no other questions, board, I will entertain a motion.
Couple of quick questions to Mr. Mike Sell. What types of tools do you house in the garage, and what is your intent for the use of the second story? Second floor.
I'm sorry, I'm a carpenter, and so I have a lot of woodworking tools. And
excellent.
So that would be it.
Okay.
to be able to
And your
park my
use for
cars.
the car is just gonna be storage primarily?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, great. Madam Chair, I'll make a motion.
Go right ahead.
Calendar number 20-67 at 4870 West 12th Street, given the testimony of the owner and the letter from and the approval of, I move that we grant the variance for this case.
Thank you very much.
Second. Okay, call the roll.
Mr. Donovan?
You're muted, sir.
Yes.
Did I hear Ms. Barnes' voice on here?
Yes.
So Ms. Barnes was present. Ms. Barnes?
Yes. Yes.
Ms. Faith?
Okay.
Ms. Johnson?
Yes.
Thank you. Calendar number 20-67 is granted. We ratify this decision next week and we'll send you a letter.
Thank you. Look at Ms. Package on Harvard Avenue.
Calendar number 20-070 at 17410 Harvard Avenue. Excuse me while I turn the page. JSD MAC LLC owner proposes to build a parking lot in a C1 local retail business district, urban form overlay district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record.
Thank you very much. Mr. Donovan?
Will everyone for this case kindly raise your right hand? I am going to make a statement. At the end of that statement, I'm looking for a response that says I do, and then also share your name with us. So here we go. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Anyone for this case? Okay. Your name, sir?
Stephen Cates.
Okay. Anyone else?
Is,
Hearing none?
We have Sharon Reed signed up, but I don't see her on here. Oh, yeah, there we go. Sharon, are you planning on speaking? I believe that's the owner.
yeah, she's the owner.
If you plan on speaking, you'll need to be sworn in.
Sharon, are you there?
Are you there?
Yes.
I do.
I do.
All right. Anyone else?
That's all we have signed up. That's all we have signed up, Mr. Donovan.
Thank you very much. History of the property, please, Mrs. Kukla.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It was originally zoned general retail in 1929. In 2007, it was changed to local retail business. The records here I found in 1954, a permit was issued to erect a brick and block delicatessen store. 1975, a permit was issued to hard surface a parking lot and erect a chain link fence. And June of 1975, there was an addition to the building for a retail store and also an addition to the building for a hardware store. And then, Madam Chair, in the more recent history, I found that in 2012, a permit was issued to demolish a two-story structure on the site. And that's all that I have that's relevant.
Thank you very much. Yielding to Law Department, Ms. Wagner.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. Appellant is requesting a use variance. To obtain the use variance, appellant must prove that denying the request will result in an unnecessary hardship particular to the property, such that there will be no economically feasible use of the property without the variance, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and that granting the variance not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code.
Thank you. Please, Mr. Cage, tell us exactly what you'd like to do.
The proposal is to put in a parking lot with the appropriate landscaping and appropriate fencing and to give additional parking space to alleviate the parking from the Harvard Avenue.
It's also paved and drained.
Yes, it's two catch basins.
Okay, I see them on the plan now, yes.
Yes.
City of Cleveland, I know that it's in the urban overlay district. It's really not permitted, is it?
Madam Chair, we would ask, is this an accessory parking lot for an existing building, or what is the purpose of the parking lot?
Well, the parking lot now is needed because you have a bike lane. Harvard Avenue was changed to a bike lane, and all the traffic now all the overflow parking is parking in the street into the bike lane.
But is this this associated with a business?
The parking, yes, the parking will give more parking for the patrons to come into the building instead of going parking out onto the street and blocking the flow of traffic on Harvard Avenue.
Which building? Which business?
It's the Max Sports Bar.
So, Madam Chair, if these lots were consolidated, then this would be an accessory. Would be the supply of parking for that building, but it looks like they're still separate lots. So, I'm not sure if we should require a consolidation. Mr. Riccardi, is that correct? That if this was consolidated, then it would be a permitted use?
Rick, are you with us?
Mr. Riccardi says yes in chat.
Okay.
So
But the building is not right next, his building is not right next door.
Yes, as you can see where it's circled, existing building. I'll show you a picture.
Oh, there
you can see it in the far left. That's Max Sports Bar, I believe.
Okay. Oh, it is adjoining though.
Yes.
Okay. So, Mr. Cates?
Yes.
I probably should shut my window. The fire engines here are crazy this morning. Do you understand what the request is by the city?
No, I didn't understand what was the request.
Maurice, can you explain it to him? I'm going to close my windows.
We, in order for this to be a legal parking lot, it would have to be, the lots would have to be consolidated. The one with Max Beverage and this parking lot would have to be consolidated into one lot. Because right now it's just a freestanding parking lot which is prohibited in the urban form overlay.
So there's the three lots that were there from when they demolished the building. Those lots have been consolidated as into one parcel. Like you said, no, that has to be added on to the Max parcel too.
Correct. Miss Kukla has her hand raised.
Madam Chair, just to be clear, there are two options on here. We can grant the variance for the standalone parking lot without him consolidating it. But what Mr. Ruland is saying is if he consolidates it, he wouldn't need a variance. So the board has the ability to grant this variance as a standalone parking lot. It would be up to the board, of course.
Aren't there additional regulations that go along with such an action? You can't charge for parking, blah, 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 blah.
Madam Chair, to Mr. Donovan. Madam Chair, to Mr. Donovan, that only applies in residential districts.
Wow.
This is not a residential district. The reason is that it's an urban form overlay district, and that's a newer, as you know, that's a newer overlay district, and it does not allow the use a parking lot as a standalone use in that overlay. So that, again, that's what you are reviewing today. But no, I think what you're referring to is the standalone, the requirements when a standalone parking lot is requested in a residential district, then there's a big list of things that we have to make sure are in place, and that, no, that doesn't apply here because it's not residential.
All right.
Ladies on the board, how do you feel about consolidating this or just okaying this as it is?
Madam Chair, to the appellant, Mr. Is it Katz?
Kates.
Kates, sorry. Are you the owner of all the parcels involved? And
No, I'm not. Miss Reed is the owner.
okay. Is the owner agreeable to consolidating all these parcels so that you could get the variance?
Miss Reed is on the call.
So to Ms. Reed, are you in agreement with consolidating all these parcels?
The parcels have, can you hear me?
Yes.
The parcels have already been consolidated. That was it was 3 different lots. They've consolidated it to 1 lot. It has 1 permanent parcel number.
But we want it consolidated with the bar.
From what you all have said, that's not necessary.
Well,
you know.
Okay. So that's what evidently they do not want to consolidate all the parcels.
Yeah, we would have, but you know, it's time, it's money, and it seemed like, and it's right. The lot is right next to the building. It seemed like it really isn't necessary. We had to get a surveyor to come out, you know, to consolidate and all of that.
Okay.
Well, it would be 2 parcels. I mean, if for future, if they had to sell, they could, you know, they could sell the bar without the parking lot parcel and still own the parking facility, like they do downtown on a lot of their parking facilities.
Madam Chairman, Mr. Cardy just typed in the chat that this is also in a design review district, which I wasn't aware of. So have you been before the design review committee? Mr. Cates?
No.
Was that the with Miss Mr. Cates? Was that the committee with what's the lady name?
Marka Fields?
Yeah,
Fields. We was down there with Marka Fields in a meeting with her.
Yeah.
So you were in the design review committee meeting with Marka Fields?
Yes, we were.
And they approved it?
Yes. Because they had changed a couple of the ways that the striping was going to be in the parking lot.
Yeah.
They wanted to add another couple set of plants over in the corner.
Okay.
Maurice, the picture that I'm looking at now with the parking lot site plan shows the existing building in the yellow line with the parking lot. So I'm thinking that has all been consolidated already.
Madam Chair, regardless of whether it's been consolidated, I don't think it has. The fact that they've been approved by the design review committee and the parking lot is directly adjacent to the building, we would go ahead and recommend. We would not object to you approving this.
All right. Any other questions, board? If not, go ahead.
We'll make a motion, Madam Chair.
Go right ahead.
Given the clarification of testimony by the appellants and the new information that they have been approved by the city planning, and the information that variance is that they do not have to have a consolidation of all parcels to have approval for the variance, I move that we go ahead and approve calendar number 20-070 at 17410 Harvard Avenue.
Second. Call the roll.
Ms. Barnes?
Yes.
Mr. Donovan,
Yes.
Ms. Faith,
Yes.
Ms. Johnson.
Yes.
Calendar 20-70 is granted, and it will be ratified next week, and we will send you a letter.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, Ms. Faith.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Calendar number 20-071, United Towing Service, Inc., appealing the decision of the Commissioner of Assessments and Licenses. United Towing Services appeals under the authority of Section 76-6 of the Charter of the City of Cleveland and Section 329.02D of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances to dispute the adverse decision of the Commissioner of the Division of Assessments and Licenses in denial of number LUOU 20-00044 filed June 9, 2020.
Thank you very much.
Will everyone for this case, please raise your right hand. I am going to read a statement. I'm looking for a response of I do, followed by your name. Here we go. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. Kevin Sullivan, United Towing. I do. Ryan Nook, United Towing.
I do. Maria, United Towing.
Will you repeat that?
I do. Kevin Sullivan, United Towing.
I got you. I just need the lady.
I do. Maria Clark, United Towing.
Is there anyone here from the city?
I do.
I do. Miranda Carlton, Division of Assessments and Licenses.
I do. Stephen Decker, attorney for the Division of Assessments and Licenses.
All right. Anyone else? Here's not.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. The legal standard will be judging this case on, please, Ms. Wagner.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. Appellant is appealing an administrative decision. The standard of review to be applied is whether the administrative decision was illegal, arbitrary, capricious, unreasonable, or unsupported by the preponderance of substantial, reliable, and probative evidence. If the appellant fails to meet this burden, the administrative decision must be affirmed.
Thank you very much. Who's going to be the spokesperson for United Towing? Would that be Mr. Sullivan?
That is correct.
Okay, Mr. Sullivan, tell us exactly what you were. Oh, wait a minute. I got it on my screen now. Hold on.
Can somebody mute their phone?
I believe that's somebody on the phone. Please turn your phone on mute.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Sullivan.
Yes.
Okay, did you have a hearing with the assessments and licenses?
Oh, it was requested to send a letter in to make an appeal. And that's what I did, and that's how where we're at now today.
Okay, this is just your appeal, all right. And who is the person that is representing the assessments and licenses?
Loretta Carlton, Assistant Commissioner.
Okay, oh, good morning.
Good morning.
And Steve Decker, attorney for Assessments and Licenses.
Yes. Are you going to speak on behalf?
I can speak, Loretta Carlton. So the application, which is a tow truck driver's application, was submitted. And as part of the application review process, we forward the application to Cleveland Police Department per section 677A.16B. So the Cleveland Police recommended that the applicant be denied based upon his criminal history and the repeated violations, of course. In addition, there was an offense. There are specific, let me go back. There are specific convictions that we are prevented from issuing a license. That's in accordance to section 677A.15, convictions barring issuance of a license. So that's the basis for which the applicant was denied.
Okay, we didn't know this prior to his starting work with the company?
On the application, on the application, there's a section where you list all of your convictions and so forth. He listed a few of the convictions, but there was one in which his BCI returned, which was a theft that occurred on October 9th, 2019, that the applicant did not disclose on his application. So in addition to what he listed and what he didn't list was the reason why his application was denied.
Okay. And is Ryan with us?
Yes.
Okay. I'd like to hear from you, please, Mr. Nook.
Okay. Well, the issue of the theft that's the one you're concerned with, because that whole thing was like a misunderstanding. I was getting shoot out of a store.
Well, whether it was a misunderstanding or not, it was supposed to be disclosed. It was listed on your BCI as a conviction in which that specific conviction can prevent you from being issued a license. We were just following the ordinance in our decision, and that's what the ordinance stated.
So you were convicted of it, Mr. Nook, right?
I tried to fight it, but the attorney or the prosecutor would not bend with it. After speaking my attorney based on prior criminal charges that were over 10 years ago.
And this charge that you've been convicted of that you didn't report was in when? October?
I believe when I fill out my paperwork was long before that the actual conviction or whatever happened, because it was in a different court.
If I may, he was charged on.
And who are you? Please, I need to know who's speaking.
I'm Stephen Decker, attorney for the division.
Thank you. Go ahead.
If I may, just briefly, he was charged on June 15th of 2019 with a petty theft charge, and he was convicted on October 9th of 2019 of that charge in the Lyndhurst Municipal Court.
Gotcha.
And the application was submitted on January 13th, 2020. No, excuse me, March 24th, 2020.
Okay. Yeah, just because it was in Lyndhurst doesn't matter. Yes, I understand. Any other questions, board? Comments? That'll entertain them.
So the person is saying that the city acted arbitrary or capricious. Can you say how they were arbitrary or capricious? This goes back to you, United Truck.
Okay, this is Kevin Sullivan speaking now.
Yeah.
I think it was an oversight. He didn't. Ryan's intentions were not trying to deceive anyone. He felt at the time, hey, everything that I have shows up on this BCI check, which I submitted with my application. I wasn't trying to hide anything. Maybe I just didn't spell it out correctly. Ryan's come a long ways. He's admitted he's had some rocky times in the past, but he's done a good job as an employee. Shows up, works his shifts, communicates with customers and so forth. He's trying to make a future here.
But in this case, we're basically tied to the fact that there are certain rules and regulations that must be followed. And one of those has to do with certain criminal acts that, if found guilty, prohibits them from issuing a license, as I understand it. City, tell me, am I thinking right on that or not?
No, you're correct. If anyone's seeking a license, has been convicted of a violation of a law, which includes theft or any form of stealing, in the 5 years preceding the filing of that application, that license should be denied. There's really no discretion on the commissioner's part to sort of overlook it or anything like that in the case of theft or any form of stealing.
So that's pretty straightforward.
Yep.
I don't think anything arbitrary or capricious.
I've not heard any proof of that, Tim. I'll entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, before we do a motion, I have a question. Are there any forgiveness on what he have done so he can move forward with his future, not that his past hold him back?
I guess it's got a 5-year window.
For the theft conviction, the offense has to be 5 years old. So with that, there's no leeway or any, forgiveness in the ordinance that would allow the Commissioner of Assessments and Licenses to issue a license until that conviction is at least 5 years old.
Hate to say it, but that seems to be the fact.
Madam Chair, I have a question. To Mr. Sullivan, to Mr. Sullivan or Mr. Nook, who actually filled out the application and submitted it? It sounds like Mr. Sullivan is advocating for Mr. Nook. And so I'm wondering, did he fill out the application or was it Mr. Nook?
I had filled it out.
Who are you?
Ryan Nook.
Right.
Okay.
So you had filled it out and it was your oversight that left the most recent incident off of the application then?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And just how long have you worked for this towing company?
About 1.5 years.
1.5 years. And when was how long had it been since your previous conviction up until the one that seems to be the one that is the one in question here?
It'd be over 10 years.
Okay, so it'd be over 10 years since the last one, and the one in late 2019 is the one that you neglected to list and is the one that is in question here today. Then is that correct?
Yes.
So you had a clean record up until that for the last decade?
Yes. It'd be like 11 years to be exact.
Okay. Is there any opportunity for you to get this most recent one expunged?
No, because I have old domestic.
Okay, all right. Okay, I just wanted to have that other information so the board is aware of your past. So thank you, Mr. Nook.
You're welcome.
Are there any other questions, board?
Kevin Sullivan to the board.
Yes.
From United. I don't think anywhere, and I could be wrong, I don't know of anywhere in the tow application program where you put the application in where it states that you're not eligible if something's occurred in the previous 5 years.
If they read the application on the very last page right before they sign it, there's a sentence that's basically saying, in consideration of granting this license hereby applied for, the applicant agrees to conform or to Code Ordinance 677A, which includes all those provisions, rules, and regulations.
Okay, Kevin Sullivan, back to the board. Again, it spells that out in that 677A.
That's what our lawyer says.
LaRonda Talton from Assessments and Licenses, that is correct.
I have never looked at that myself. Something I will look into. Unfortunately, I don't have
access that ordinance from the City of Cleveland's website.
Okay.
Or I can email it to you.
Yes, if you could, at your convenience, if you could email it to me.
Any other questions, board? I'll entertain a motion.
I have one more question for licensing.
Sure, Tim.
If we find in favor of the city today, and basically it doesn't allow this gentleman to have a license to tow cars, is there within the city's rules, regulations, and policies any ability after a period of time, let's say 6 months or a year, for this applicant to come back and ask that the city reverse its decision and hire him?
The way the ordinance is written, specifically related to the crime that he was convicted of, there is really no discretion. I mean, it basically says anything within the 5 years preceding the application, and that's pretty much what it is. In other provisions of 677A15, there's a little bit more discretion on the commissioner's part, but by and large, there's really not much he can do outside of the parameters of the codified ordinances.
All right, just exploring.
Anybody else? I'll entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, given the testimony here, it's painfully obvious that the city was not arbitrary or capricious, and that the language that's basically rules the judgment here is pretty steadfast, shall we say. So given that, I would move that we would find in favor of the city. They're not arbitrary or capricious.
Second.
Call the roll.
Ms. Faith?
It is unfortunate that this is going to probably put this gentleman out of work, but it is before us to decide if the decision was arbitrary and capricious, and we have to find that the motion before us is that the city was not arbitrary and capricious. So given that, I have to vote yes.
Ms. Barnes? Ms. Barnes? Are you muted?
Yes. Hello. Yes, yes, yes.
So you're voting yes?
Yes.
And Mrs. Johnson? Thank you. And Mrs. Johnson?
Yes.
Calendar 20-71 has been denied. This will be ratified next week, and we will send you a letter.
Thank you all
Okay,
very
thank you.
much. Ms. Faith?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Calendar number 20-047 at 4135 East 116th Street, postponed from June 20, 2020. WG Realty LLC owner proposes to establish a child care facility in a B1 two-family residential district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public.
Thank you very much. Mr. Donovan?
I'll note that we don't have the right case on the screen. I'm going to make a statement. I'm looking for a response for all those that are here for this case. And after the response of I do, give us your name. So, do you swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do, Ariana Jones.
Anyone else? No, it looks as though we have one person here to testify.
Okay.
I'm sorry, that's all we have signed up.
Okay.
Oh, John Rakoskis, the architect.
He's going to testify as well?
Yes. Mr. Rakoskis? You're muted.
I do, Rakoskis.
Hello?
John, you have to say I do and raise your hand and say I do.
I think you might be experiencing technical difficulties.
Excuse
We'll
me,
come back.
Is this case number 072?
No, this is 047.
East 116th Street.
We didn't read that case. Oh, that's good. Yeah, no, we didn't.
There's Mr. Koska's head, I can see. Would you raise your right hand and say, I do?
Yeah, we still can't hear you, sir. You can always call in if you can't get your microphone to work.
Oh, come on.
Madam Chair, would we like to move on to the next case and give Mr. Wakakis an opportunity to correct his technical difficulties?
No, let's just
Or
continue
Madam-
this case.
Madam Chair, we do have the drawings that Mr. Rakowskis submitted. So if Ms. Jones wants to present, if Ms. Jones would like to present
Yes.
the new drawing, she can go ahead and do that, if that would be all right with you.
Okay, that's fine. But the legal standard will be judging the case on. Ms. Wagner.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. Appellant is requesting an area variance from the distance requirements of the zoning code. To obtain the area variance, appellant must prove that denying the request will create a practical difficulty not generally shared by other land or buildings in the same district, will deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and that granting the variance will not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code.
Thank you very much. Do we have the history?
Yes, Madam Chair, yes.
Oh, yes, okay.
So we have had some testimony. This was on July 20th, 2020, but I'll just give you the brief history again. There's been no change in the zoning, and in 1968, a permit was issued to erect a one-story church and parking lot. In 1981, a permit was issued to add a 30 by 33 addition as a meeting hall to the church. And this case on July 20th was postponed at the request of the board to allow for time for the appellant to update the site plan to show playground surface as well as fencing, and to get a support letter from the councilman. Back to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Ms. Jones, are you representing the appellant?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, I saw you posted a letter. Okay, tell us exactly. Oh boy, I'm looking at the plan, but I'm not seeing much. Hold on.
Okay.
Okay.
I believe, Madam Chair, I believe Mr. Rakowskis is trying to call in.
Okay, I was going to ask Ms. Jones the type of fence that they've got around the playground. Oh, is CL Cyclone?
I believe so. Mr. Rakowskis was going to explain the fencing for you. That's why I was hoping he would be able to call in.
Okay, what's the surface of the playground?
It's going to be the soft, what is it, like the soft pad surface, kind of with the rubber surface, the rubber that they have in the playgrounds.
Madam Chair?
And do you have the letter of support from the councilman?
Yes, to Ms. Kukula.
Liz, did you receive a letter from Councilman Johnson?
Yes, Madam Chair, I did.
Okay, thank you very much.
I believe I forwarded to Mr. Ruins. I'm not sure if he made it part of the PowerPoint, but we do have that in our possession.
Mr. Rakowskis?
I think I'm on the phone.
Oh, we can hear you, yes.
Okay.
Go ahead. Oh. Go ahead.
Am I being addressed?
Yes.
Okay, what was the question? out the
The
phone,
type
and I
of-
didn't hear that.
A type of fencing around the playground.
Chain link. Yeah. It says on the drawing, the CL indicates
Yes, chain link.
link.
Okay, and it's only 3 foot high?
Yes.
Madam Chair, Mr. Rokoskis still has not been sworn in.
Okay,
Oh,
Mr.
no, I have not been.
Go ahead, Mr. Donovan.
All right, Mr. Rokoskis, raise your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Will we
You know,
have a letter?
I'm thinking about it. That fence, that probably should be 4 feet.
Yes. We would need a
Is it-
corrected plans.
Is it black vinyl? Is the fence black vinyl?
If that's what's needed, that's what we'll provide.
Yes, we want black plastic coated vinyl.
Okay. And it should be 4 feet. I'm sorry.
Oh, Councilman Johnson does have his letter now, and he said that Ms. Jones has purchased the church building that will be used as daycare. So it's no longer operating as a church, it'll be strictly daycare. Maurice, go back to the pic thing. Okay, thank you. Okay, one more, there'll be a drop off for the children. Yeah, I see it. Okay. Any other questions, Ward?
Madam Chair, discussion on July 20th about this project, that the appellant, with the assistance of our architect, has clarified all of the issues that we had with regard to drop-off fencing in the playground area, and have included, in addition, traffic flow arrows to indicate how the cars will move around the building. And with the exception of the change in the height of the fencing, which we will need a new set of plans indicating that correction, I would like to make a motion that we go ahead and approve this, given that we have the letter from the councilman, and the appellant and her architect has fulfilled all of the other requests that we had made on July 20.
Second.
Call the roll.
Sorry, Madam Chair. And that is also with the vinyl coating, Ms. Faith? The black vinyl coating, I'm assuming?
Yes, given that they have agreed to that request that we made, that it's a coated chain link fence, and we just need the drawing change to indicate that it's a 4 foot instead of a 3 foot.
Okay. Ms. Barnes? Ms. Barnes?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Donovan?
Yes.
Ms. Faith?
Ms. Faith, you're muted.
Did you not hear me say yes? Okay.
No, and Mrs. Johnson?
Yes.
Calendar 20-47 is granted pending those revised drawings. We will ratify it next week if we have those revised drawings, and we'll send you a letter.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, Ms. Faith.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Calendar number 20-072 at 5909 Cable Avenue, postponed from July 13th, 2020. ABA Enterprise Connect LLC owner proposes to establish use as a child's boarding home, ages 10 through 17, in a B1 two-family residential district. The owner appeals for relief from the strict application of the Cleveland Codified Ordinances as stated in the agenda and the public record.
Thank you very much. Mr. Donovan.
Everyone for this case, kindly raise your right hand. I'm going to make a statement. At the end of it, your response is "I do," and your name. Do you swear or affirm that this testimony you are about to give is the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do. Nicole Calhoun, City Planning Commission.
I do. Andrew Carter, Cable Avenue.
I do. Chris Alvarado, Slavic Village Development.
Okay, we have everybody.
Elizabeth Armstrong, I do.
My neighbor is here.
Elizabeth Armstrong, I do.
Okay, Libby. Anybody else, Maurice?
Yeah, Gladys Jovanovic.
We have Sharila Taylor.
Yes.
Can we hear you?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yep. Okay.
Okay. Can you see me?
Yes. Did you say I do?
No, I do.
Very good. Excellent.
Very good.
Yes, I do. Gladys Jovanovic. Yes, I do.
Okay.
Okay.
Miles Antonov. Yes, I do.
Okay.
I think that's everyone.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you. History of the property, please. We've had already. Is that correct, Mrs. Kukla? We've had the history previously.
Yes, correct. On July 13th, we did read the history into the
Yes, okay.
record. I can do it again if you would like.
Yeah. The legal standard will be judging the case on, please, Ms. Wagner.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. Appellant is requesting a use variance. To obtain a use variance, appellant must prove that denying the request will result in an unnecessary hardship particular to the property, such that there will be no economically feasible use of the property without the variance, or deprive the appellant of substantial property rights, and the granting the variance not be contrary to the purpose and intent of the zoning code.
Thank you very much. Good morning, all. Who's going to be the representative of ABA Enterprise?
Kudzima Timotani.
Okay, tell us exactly what you'd like to do.
I would like to utilize the property for a youth home for children that are in the foster care system. And we're going to be housing the kids, working with them, therapeutic on a day-to-day basis. So these are kids that are in the foster care system that we are looking to house.
Okay. I've got some letters on the screen in support. Reginald Ware at 5909 Cape. Oh, he's in support of the letter of the institution. Damara Turner, and she lives at 5900 Cable Avenue, and she's also in support of the home. And Ariel Smith and Bianca Smith, who live at 5917, also have no problem with this being a youth home.
And there should have been one other email from.
I got an opposition letter from Habita, property owner of 5900 Cable. He would like to object. Youth boarding home is not advantageous to this kind of operation in the residents of Cable Avenue. It would do better in a rural area. The homes have a very close proximity, and there's a large population of small minor children that live on the street. My question is, what type of safety measures will they have in place? How many full-time attendants will be at the facility? And are you going to be dispensing medication on site? I am against his facility. I'm against the area they want to put this facility in. It's quite absurd that this 5909 Cable was even considered for this operation. And
yes,
hold on a moment. Councilman Phyllis Cleveland met with them via Zoom in person and received no communication opposing the granting of this variance. I received 3 emails from residents on Cable expressing support. While I have concerns about the project, I'm taking no position on granting of the variance and accept the decision of the Board of Zoning Appeals. And signed Phyllis Cleveland, sent from her iPad. Okay, now we're open for discussion.
Okay, so prior to actually purchasing the home, I had gone in and I had sent a couple of emails just to kind of make sure that we weren't purchasing a home that wasn't going to be able to be utilized for the facility. I was able to go and speak with some of the neighbors. I know that some of the neighbors, I went consecutively to at least, engage the neighbors, let the neighbors know what we were trying to do with the home. And I wasn't able to get feedback from everybody. Some people weren't as responsive as the other people. But I did kind of make sure that I took those measures. Pretty much what I would like to utilize for the home is to be able to care for youth that are in the foster care system. Being a social worker, I understand that there's a lot of kids that are in need of placement. There are a lot of kids that deal with a lot of trauma, a lot of issues of, neglect. They come from homes that they might have been abused and they deal with a lot of hardships. So this is pretty much all it is a therapeutic youth home to help these kids go through and be able to become positive citizens. It's not a facility, it's not a detention center, it's not a juvenile prison. It's a youth therapeutic home that's going to be working with kids that come from disturbed environments. There is, in terms of surveillance, we have staff that are going to be with the kids 24/7. We have so we're going to have 10 kids, and with the 10 kids, we're going to have five childcare workers that are going to be with the kids at all times. So it's around the clock care that we're going to be providing for the youth. These are not youth that are going to come in, that are going to come and disrupt the neighbors. This is just a housing therapeutic environment to help kids. And I really have a passion with it. Elizabeth Armstrong is here as well, and I'm going to be working with her as well, if she has a couple of words.
Ms. Armstrong? Hello, Ms. Armstrong, have you been sworn in?
Ms. Armstrong, you're muted. Yes, she was sworn in.
Okay, great.
There you go. Now you're unmuted.
So yes, I was sworn in. And yes, I have a good deal of experience working with kids who are at risk, and it's my passion. I really want to help them become everything they can, because so many of these kids in the foster system fall through the cracks, or they don't get the help they need therapeutically. And just to be sure, this is not like, so people understand, this is not a rehab home, this isn't a drug treatment home. We're not doing any of that type of thing there. So if they need drug treatment, they would get drug treatment elsewhere. That's not what we do. So yes, that's, I think what we just want to do is help these kids to get their lives together. And, most of them are in this situation not because of their own fault. We are able to pick and choose who our clients are. We don't have to take kids who are like really violent or whatever. We are able to choose. We are presented the client or the child, and then we decide if they're appropriate for the home, because we have to make sure everything is safe for our license as well.
Do they have families that don't want them? Is that?
Yes.
Yes.
With these foster kids that they have nowhere else to go. So yeah, when the kid comes into the system, the first thing they do is try to find someone in the family to take them. When there is no one, they have to go to a foster home. And if you might have seen recently that the Department of Children and Family Services has had kids like living in their office building because they have nowhere for them. This is a huge need, and it's a need to be in the community, where I think somebody mentioned in one of the letter, they think it would be better in a rural area, but it honestly isn't for the children, because they need to be near their families. And these kids are coming from Cuyahoga County, and they don't, if you put them down near Columbus in the country or something, they're not going to see their families ever, whoever they have left. And some of them do still get visitations by parents and stuff and other family members. And that's really important to try to help keep what family they have. And if we place them 2 hours away in the country, plus that isn't always culturally helpful for them. We want them to feel comfortable. And a kid that's grown up in the city, not always comfortable out in the country, and vice versa. So we want to try to keep them where they're comfortable and connected to the community.
Maurice, do we have pictures? I'd like to see the interior of the house. They can house 10 children?
I don't have interior pictures. I do, Madam Chair, I also have Audra Carter with her hand raised.
Yes, there should have been a PowerPoint I was able to send showing what has been done. We have been working on this home every day. We've done a lot of, renovations, and I did send a PowerPoint. Secretary Kukla, were you able to receive that to be able to present?
I don't have it.
I apologize, Madam Chair. I don't remember getting it. I don't think I have that. When did you send it, ma'am? I'm sorry.
Yes, I can resend it. I sent it over. I sent another one on Sunday, and I also sent one on Friday. And it was just a PowerPoint, and it's shown all the renovations that we've done. We've really gone in there and made a drastic difference. We've cleared out. I know initially on our first call, there was a whole bunch of trash and there was a lot of concerns, but we really have been diligent in terms of putting in a lot of money to get this place up and running. People are working there every day. And I can resend it to you now just so you all can see what we've done.
Yes, Madam Chair, now I do. I do see the one from yesterday. I could send it to Maurice. I'm not sure if he'd be able to play or not at this point. I can apologize. I didn't see that one. I'm sorry.
You're fine.
This is Audra Carter. I had my hand raised.
Okay, Audra.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm an owner of 5906 Cable Avenue. I'm diagonal and directly across from the street of this property that we're speaking about. I was a licensed foster mom for over 8 years. So what Ms. Kandasi is attempting to do is a noble cause. But my concern is that this will more or less be structured as a quote unquote institution versus a foster home. The lady spoke about their passion for the kids, this, that, and the other. If it was on the level of a foster home, which I think max is like 4 to 6 kids, they would be getting that nurturing one-on-one fostering home environment. And I did it for over 8 years. I too have a passion for kids. Several concerns. Ms. Kajani does not live in this neighborhood. I made an investment in this property in a residential neighborhood. I revived my property also at 5906. Not to live across the street from an institution which she cannot control the comings and goings 24 hours a day with 10 beds in that house. You got kids with different cases. They say that they can pick and choose the case, but we won't have any say so on what cases are chosen. She's going to have 5 staff members there. That's 5 cars. That's 5 cars. So we'll be struggling for parking. If we have visitation, where are people going to park? County caseworkers have to visit the children. Let's multiply that by 10. Not to mention family visitations of the children. Let's multiply that by 10. So we're going to be like really closed in. The ramifications of taxes, I don't know. I haven't done the research on that. But then if this is granted, you got one investment property, and that's what it is. It's an investment for Mrs. Kunjani. I was a foster parent, so I know the investment in the kid, it can be taken one-on-one. So my question is, have you ever done foster parenting? You know, my neighbor is here who lives right next door to the house. The noise level, all of that is a concern to me. So I'm in opposed. I admire her for her ambition, and if the noble cause is really a sincere one that she has, I just ask that you buy or invest in a commercial district and run your institution, you know, in a area that's already zoned for this purpose. Don't come in and have us like rezoned as like a commercial district or whatever. And yes, your house is looking beautiful, but it's just that when your operation is up and going, you don't have to come to this neighborhood every day. Your staff will be there. And I also wanted to question these people that are supporting at 5900 and 5917. Are those the property owners or those are the residents? I think those are the tenants. Those are not the property owners that are in support of this institution that's going to open. So I just ask that you guys do not approve this. I'm not in support of it. I'm here with my neighbor. She's not in support of it. She lives directly next door to the property. So it's just going to be disruption all hours. And depending on the case, which we won't have any say so as residents on what cases she can accept in that house, it's just going to be putting us at a disadvantage. And no, all of the money I put in my house, I'm not ready to move from over here. My intention was to come to this neighborhood and improve this neighborhood. That was my intention.
I agree with it.
So.
And Ms. Carter, I understand fully. I know that, you know, I had came out and I spoke with both of you prior to this meeting that was held, you know, and with the councilwoman, and everyone was notified about the meeting. And, you know, this was the purpose of that meeting, was to be able for us to answer some of the questions and concerns that you guys. I understand fully your concerns. I think a lot of your concerns are valid. And all I'm saying is I'm not trying to come into your neighborhood and cause disruption. That's not my goal. My goal is to.
I know it's not a disruption, but my point is you'll be coming and going. You've
so
talked to me.
I will be there 24/7. I'm always going to be there.
But you're not going to
You're not gonna live here. But you know what? I'd rather address the board. And like I said, kudos to you and what your intentions are. But I just had the questions. The folks that are in support of the house, are they the actual property owners? And I'm just asking that this does not be approved. That's all.
I agree with that. Okay.
Well, Madam Chair?
Yes.
This is Lori Wagner. Could I ask a question, please?
Yes.
Just to clarify the record, the applicant mentioned before that she checked out prior to purchasing the house that this would be a proper use for the house. And I'm wondering if she could elaborate on that, because obviously this is not allowed by the zoning code. That's why they're applying for a use variance. And I'm wondering how she could have got the idea that this could go forward without board permission.
Absolutely. So prior to purchasing the home, I was meeting with a gentleman by the name of Mr. Ken Marriott, and I had been emailing him a list of addresses. So, and I gave him the rundown of what I wanted to utilize the property for, and if this was going to be in compliance with the variance codes, because I wouldn't just go out and purchase a property that I know, you know, and use all of my money to purchase a property that I couldn't be able to utilize it for what I wanted to utilize it for. So when I got the letter back from Mr. Riccardi with the non-compliance, I was taken back. So I was, you know, I was overwhelmed. I was very hurt at that. I had taken all the necessary measures to make sure that the property was going to be able to be utilized for what it needed to be utilized for. So this was everything that we're going through now is something that's very unexpected. And,
okay, to the applicant, who's the gentleman you talked to?
Ken Marriott.
And who is he? Is he work for the city?
Yes. And
what capacity?
I have emails of our communications showing, you know, just information where I stated specifically what I wanted to do. So I guess, you know, a lot of
ma'am, what is the job title of this person?
Ken Marriott. He is, I can go back to my email and
Excuse me, Madam Chair, he is a permit, he is a plans examiner for building and housing.
Thank you.
So
and he told you could have a facility with 10 children and 5 employees in a single family district.
So I gave him all that information, and when I gave him the address of 5909 Cable Avenue, he had said it is okay. It is 1,000 feet away from another facility. And I had then sent him another email saying, okay, I'm moving forward with purchasing the property. So I didn't just go out and just, you know, without consult, because these were some of the barriers that that I didn't want to kind of go through. So I guess I think somewhere along the line there must have been miscommunication, maybe, with Mr. Marriott as well as myself. Maybe he didn't maybe understand fully what I was trying to do, and I don't know, some way, somehow. So throughout that communication, I realized that there was obviously miscommunication and I couldn't do it there. So I just, proceeded to follow through with what I needed to, which is go through zoning's appeal.
Excuse me, Madam Chair, Mr. Riccardi just typed in the chat that I respectfully disagree with the statement that the use was authorized. Mr. Marriott advised her to check with me, and I stated that a full review would be required.
Thank you.
Ms. Kukla is going to be sharing her screen in a minute for the with the PowerPoint.
Okay.
Is there anybody else who wants to comment that while we're waiting, Maurice?
Madam Chair, could I ask Maurice to put up the plan views of the interior?
Yes, 1 second. And Sharia Taylor has her hand raised and she would like to say something.
Okay. Ms. Taylor, you have a comment?
You're muted, ma'am. There you go.
Can you hear me? Okay.
We can hear you now.
Okay. So I live not too far. I don't live on Cable Avenue, but I do have a good friend who has bought property on Cable Avenue. At first, she was not for this facility, thinking exactly what whoever that person was in the letter wrote. Are they going to be giving drugs out? Are they going to, where are these 15 people going to sleep, and so on and so forth, and the things about the rural community. I actually spoke to, and I'm sorry, I can't pronounce your name. I mess it up I'm going to say Miss K. And to get a little more information about the home and what's going on, what really struck what really struck me about this case was the fact that she was told that there were no zoning limitations in that email when it comes to that address. And then later on, she was sent to someone else after she bought the property. So, like I said in the chat, I read the email in which that communication that was sent. I read the thread, and I found that was a little peculiar. I also, just in defense of the property that you're seeing the pictures of right now, the greenhouse, that is not how that property looks currently. It is completely almost rehabbed. They've taken the inside down. I walked through with Chris the other day, and they've taken the inside all the way down to the studs. This is a project in which that is improving that house, which would also improve the neighborhood. She is now a property owner, just like the other lady, and our property owners. I think it's a tad bit unfair to brush off people who are renting. I know they come and go, but at the same time, they have to live right next door as well, too. A lot of the owners, and speaking of that, a lot of the owners that do own property on Cable, they don't live on that street. So after speaking to Ms. K and knowing that she has projects for these children to actually be involved in, like gardening, and they might be going out to rural areas to get an experience on something different, she plans on exposing these children to things in which that they normally would not have been exposed to, maybe even with their parents. She's a Christian woman. We talked about, having, maybe not forcing religion on anyone, but having a basis of guiding these kids to God. and keeping them on the right track. After speaking to her, and I didn't take it as she was just doing this just for money or anything. She has hopes in taking and perfecting this program in the United States, and then taking it back to her home country and helping impoverished kids there too. And she's from Zimbabwe. So with me being an African American woman, I am very interested in helping people that look just like me. And unfortunately, a lot of the kids that are in foster care or that more than likely will be coming through these facilities will be Black children from the inner city. And unfortunately, it's not a lot of people in the age range of 10, 17 that want to take those children. I think her name is Karen, right? Miss Karen? Yes. She lives across the street. As you would know, as a foster mother, a lot of people that's the age range people don't want. They want babies. They want, little kids that they can pass off for their own or raise and mold themselves. Yes, these kids may have problems and issues, but because she is going to have around-the-clock service, around-the-clock people watching them. Now, they won't have one-on-one, but they'll have two-on-two, which I think is still pretty good. There's going to be cameras, as she said, all through the house. The boys and girls are going to be separated. They can't just come and go as they please. Like she said that there's going to be cameras in all the entryways, so she knows when they're coming and going. I think, I don't know how in depth your conversations went, but I asked a lot of questions and she answered a lot of the concerns in which that were stated in that letter, like I said. And the last thing I want to say is that there are multiple boarding houses and halfway houses just right there in that community. I believe Roz McAllister, who is a pastor in the community and lives right there on Broadway, stated and listed all the halfway houses that are in that area. There's a lot, and the majority of them are either sober houses for adults or just halfway houses for adults. We're talking about children here. I mean, really, if I wouldn't be on here if it wasn't for the kids, really, and the kids that actually need the help the most, the 16 and the 17-year-olds that basically nobody is going to take, and they really end up homeless. It was a whole big thing about RTA taking these kids that are these very kids and who end up homeless on the street. So I think she's doing something that's more than just noble. You couldn't pay me to have 10, 15 kids to watch. I'll pull my hair out. So what I'm saying is that I don't think it's about the money and the fact that she purchased a home. It's not like she's renting, and that's all I have to say.
Thank you very much, Taylor. Did Chris Alvarado want to speak, Maurice?
Madam Chair, he would like to have Mr. Miles, and then, I don't know how to pronounce the last name, speak first. He wanted to go last, and then and Nicole Calhoun wanted to go after Chris.
Okay.
So Miles.
Hi, this is Miles Ananoff. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I live across the street. There's a house in between us and Miss Kendra that spoke a minute ago. And I'm kind of from the other side and diagonal, and I totally agree with Miss Kendra with as far as this, I mean, I don't know, as far as the zoning goes, that house is way too close to the other side, and I don't know if that would. I totally agree with Miss Kendra. There lives there's a house in between us. We're both across the street from the house. And I had friends that owned that house prior, and I know what the house looks like. I've been in there and everything. But zoning and stuff, I'm not in agreement with it.
Thank you very much. Chris Alvarado, you're next.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Great. So I did have a chance. I received 4 letters of support, 3 of which were put up, and then 1 other letter of support that was sent to Ms. Kukla on Sunday. To answer the question from, I believe, Ms. Carter, 2 of the letters of support are from owner occupant. So that is from 5915 Cable. So that's the house that's immediately next door to 5909 Cable. So when you look at the original photo, you can see 5915 Cable right next to it. And then the
I'm
other
sorry to
owner,
interrupt, Mr. Alvarado. I'm sorry to interrupt. 5915 is sitting right next to me. She's not in support of it. She's right here.
oh, is that from Ms. Rose?
No, no.
Gladys Jovanovic, 5905.
15. Yeah, she's sitting right here. Didn't you say 5915?
Yes, ma'am.
She's here. She's not in support. She lives right across the street from me. 5917, I believe that's rental there and not discounting rental. It's just that, like the young lady said, they come and they go, but I've been here 11, almost 12 years.
I've
She's
been
been
here
20.
for 25 years.
I apologize. Just for clarification, Ms. Carter, you live at 5906?
5906.
Yes, ma'am. And Ms. Jovanovic lives across the street from you. She's 5905.
Okay,
Yeah, correct,
5905.
correct.
What did you say?
I said 5915.
Okay.
Yeah. So I did not get a letter from Ms. Jovanovic, but it's clear what her position is. I did receive a letter from 5915. So that's right there on that photo. That's the house to the right. And that's an owner occupant that is in support. So I just wanted to make sure that that was up there for the record. And then, but you're right, 2 of the other letters of support for 917, so that's 1 house over, and then 5900, so that's next to you, Ms. Carter. They said that they were in support. And they're renters.
That's rental.
It's a rent.
Yes, ma'am, I understand. I did have an opportunity to take a look at the property. We actually have at Slavic Village Development a fairly long history with the property because we were working with Miss Anna Hubbard when she was living there to try to help her to keep the house and to save the house and to make renovations. She had been living there from, I want to say 1990 until 2019. So she was a long time resident, but for a variety of reasons, she was not able to save the house. And the house had fallen under some pretty serious disrepair. And so we had a chance to take a look at it both before the renovations and then most recently on Friday during the renovations. I feel like Ms. Madamichani and her team are making a good faith effort to make improvements to this house. I do understand the concerns that neighbors have about traffic and parking, et cetera. And that was one of the things that I had communicated with Ms. Madamichani, is that she'll have to be able to address that. And what she told me was that most of the parking would take place in that driveway. It goes back pretty far.
Absolutely.
She said that that should be able to fit 5 cars and then one in the back.
I don't think so.
There
It's
is-
enough for 5 cars.
If I may, please. So there is, she's claiming that there's room for that. I've worked with a lot of different folks who do want to open up, with boarding houses of various types, both for foster children, but also for adults, et cetera. So again, I understand the concerns that neighbors have. In my experience, in at least my brief interaction with Ms. Madamichani and taking a look at the program that she is proposing, as well as looking at the improvements that have been made so far, I feel like that I can, in good faith, recommend approval. Basically, it comes down to this. If we don't approve this, then we don't approve any homes like this in any residential neighborhood. it is something that is needed. And I think we have a good variety of programs for young people in the neighborhood that can help with building stability.
Thanks, Chris.
Madam Chair, we also have Nicole Calhoun for the city planner for this area.
Okay.
Good morning, board. I am very glad not to be in your situation right now to make this choice. However, I will say that we stand on the fence with this one as well. I've heard several complaints from residents that want to stay off the record that oppose. And I also spoke with Councilwoman Cleveland, and you have a letter from her as well.
Right.
Although it's needed, there is some issues that I believe pose a little problematic when it comes to the residents and the synergy that one would look for to have within a neighborhood. I don't feel that there's enough synergy in this neighborhood to support. I would prefer to have saw the email thread from Mr. Marriott. This is the first that I've heard of it. And
excuse me real quick, Ms. Calhoun, I have the email chain now. If you want me to put it up on screen, I can.
That would be fantastic.
Okay, sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
Well, I'm going to pause for a minute so I can actually read the email, if that's okay, Madam Chairwoman.
Yes. Because we're all going to read it.
Madam Chair, this is Ms. Carter. I just like to just ask, everybody talks about the need, and I agree. I was a one-on-one foster parent for 8 years. Does she have a history of having the kids actually live in her home? I had kids that lived with me. It wasn't an investment. And as I explained to her, initially in the back of my head, this house on 5906 Cable, I was thinking about the teenagers who age out. Can you still hear me? Because my screen went blank.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, the kids who age out, it was like, okay, well, after they leave here, where are they going to go? So I bought this house. This house was a little too small for me. So my thought was, why don't I teach independent living when the girls age out? My passion was for the pregnant teenage girls. I would teach them independent living. And that was in the back of my head, to have 2 downstairs and 1 upstairs, just to teach them how to live on their own, manage an apartment, and to cohabitate. I wouldn't have gone to the city to have anything like rezone to disrupt a neighborhood, or nor would it have been an investment for me. These would have been independent women, not me not trying to buy a house and reap the benefits off of 3 heads that are in my house. But I have a genuine love and compassion, and everybody speaks of that. But who has done it one-on-one, let alone for 8 years? And it was not a financial benefit to me. That's why I became a truck driver, to make money. It wasn't a financial benefit to me. So there is not a lot of money in that. So unfortunately, due to personal circumstances, I had to force to keep myself, and I couldn't take on kids anymore because I'm gone all the time on the road. But it is a noble cause. It's a huge need. It's a huge need, and I don't disagree with that. But who has done it one-on-one where they've lived with you and not just an investment?
I agree with her. Hello?
Yes.
Excuse me? Yes, I agree with her, because I am the one who's going to be next to this house. And we already have enough problem with the neighbor who live here. Everybody rent in front of my house, and the night and everything. I want my life peaceable, because I live here almost for 25 years. 25 years. And I am the one who really going to be with my problem, because it's next to my house. And I try to keep my house. I spend money and improve my house. And I don't want to have more problems than already we have. That's my opinion. And I don't want a house next to my house for this. Thank you.
And I understand concerns. And just, I am a social worker. I went to school for this. I was a supervisor at Belfair working with kids in residential. I know the need. You know, if it was something that's a financial gain, I wouldn't be a social worker, because one, as a social worker, we don't even get paid that much. I do it because I enjoy what I do and I love kids, and that's my passion. I know prior to this, I attempted, God knows I did my level best to try and reach out. I came, you know, Carter knocked on your door a couple of times, as well as knocked on the other neighbor's door a couple of times, so that I could at least validate and hear some of your concerns and answer a lot of your questions. Because I think that these are valid questions that, if I look at myself, I would have the same concerns and questions. And all I'm looking for is for, you know, as a neighbor, we are a community as one, for you guys to embrace what we're trying to do. It's not a bad thing. I've put a lot of time, a lot of money, you know, into changing what this home used to look like so it can be an asset to the road. I'm not coming in trying to say I'm trying to cause disruption. I'm coming in.
I put a lot of money in mine, but I live here. I live here.
Absolutely. But to answer some of your concerns, I may not sleep there, but I'm going to be there 24/7. You all know that I have an open door policy. At any time, you can always feel free to contact me. I'm very approachable. All I'm asking is
24/7. Why not downgrade it to a foster home? That's living here. That's 24/7. Just make it a foster home then.
Excuse me. Can we remind the speakers that it's one person at a time, and they're
I want to hear from Nicole about she's read this, what Maurice has put on the screen. Nicole?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just reviewed the email. It does not state, I agree with Mr. Riccardi, it does not state that it is a good to go. On that premise and on that premise alone, we do not support.
So,
Thank you very much.
sorry, let me go and city my understanding application permit zoning. Okay.
So anybody else who hasn't had a chance to speak, Mr. Rubens?
I have, looks like Alana wants to speak again, but other than that, I have no other neighbors with their hands raised at the moment.
Ms. Faith?
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Oh, Mr. Donovan as well. Sorry, go ahead.
I would like to know, your intent is to house 10 children in this facility. Is it a possibility for you to house any less?
Absolutely. Absolutely, it is a possibility to house less. I just said 10 because when I looked at the rooms, it can accommodate 10. But if it's about the number of kids, absolutely. I'm looking at it from a standpoint of, in the event that this doesn't work out, then what happened? Because I've really invested a lot of money into this and a lot of time. So if it means 10 is a big number, by all means, I don't mind reducing the number to satisfy and appease everybody.
And my second question is it your intent that this be co-ed, or are you going to keep it to single sex?
So potentially co-ed is what I want to do, because there's 2 floors and there's single rooms. So we would then have single rooms for boys and double rooms for girls.
Thank you, ma'am. To Mr. Ruins or city planning, do you know if the interior renovation plans have gone through building and planning and have received approval? And looking at the hand-drawn floor plans, I have concerns for egress and for access to all the bedrooms, particularly on the first floor. It looks like the dining room has been turned into a bedroom, and so the only access is to go through the kitchen to get to the bedrooms, since the hallway has been eliminated.
Madam Chair, through Ms. Faith, I am not aware of any plans being submitted for that, but Nicole Calhoun may know more, and Mr. Riccardi may know more.
Thank you.
I have not received anything.
Mr. Riccardi just typed that the building code review does not occur until the zoning is approved.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Any other questions, board?
Yes.
I have an observation, and sitting
Yes.
here listening to all the testimony here. We have a lot of good faith people. We certainly have picked a challenge. In fact, I don't know, maybe you could have found another house worse than this house to renovate, but I'm wondering, when you're down in the basement with those photos, it's really, that's major structural issues you're dealing with. And the number of people that you're looking to try to orchestrate in this endeavor, 10 people, 10 kids, and 5 adults at a time, seems like a lot of people to manage there. So I'm glad to hear that the appellant is at least open to reconfigure, the amount of people that she could host in this particular venue. And I'm wondering if there isn't a ability to start small and prove yourself, and then be able to come back to zoning to ask for an expansion of use there in terms of people, but to start small so that you can prove to your neighbors that you're not going to be a nuisance. And in that regard, I would also suggest that, yeah, you may have 2 floors and have males on one and females on the other, but you're gonna, you're just, again, you're adding to your challenge there. I would offer a bit of advice that says, start with just one, either boys or girls, which one you want to start with. Maybe girls would be easier in one, but don't mix them up. And I wonder, how would the neighborhood feel about that? Would you want to take a time out here, work with the appellant, see if you can come up with a number that's satisfactory, that kind of makes your business work, get some relationships going? It is going to take a village to raise these kids. So having people on that street aware of who they are and being the other eyes on the street, making sure those kids aren't getting in trouble is probably a good thing for everybody. That's my observation.
Thanks, Tim.
Madam Chair, we have Ms. Taylor with her hand raised.
Hello.
That was Merlene Barnes. Ms. Taylor, did you have a comment?
Hold on. Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so my understanding, and I mean, I can be corrected if I'm wrong, because I asked questions about it, about how many people will be staying there. And just like when I was going to foster, these children are coming and going. It's not like from my understanding, she's going to have those same kids there for the next 10, 12, 15 years. It can be a call where it could be, a family of 3, and say it's 2 sons and a daughter. I think that's why she has it split, boys and girls, like that, because you don't know who you'll be housing until you get the call. And then you have to read through their profile or whatever, like she said. But it could be, once you have those kids, maybe the mom gets out of jail, or she gets off of drugs, or whatever the situation might be. Or they find grandma or dad comes along and takes them, and now they're placed with back with parents. I think the ultimate goal always when having foster kids is to get them back, with their relatives. So I think that, from my understanding, I could be correctly wrong, that these children, it's going to be, children that, as long as she has them there forever long, some kids might stay longer, I don't know. But I think it's not necessarily going to be 10 kids there like the first day she opens up, if I'm not mistaken.
Absolutely.
Okay, that was okay.
So you,
that was it. Okay.
Sorry, can I talk?
Thank you, Ms. Taylor.
Thank you, Ms. Taylor. All I was going to say is that usually when it's obviously not going to start off with 10 kids. It's a gradual process. So sometimes, yes, the county might call and say, hey, we've got a sibling group. which was specifically why I said providing the opportunity to still have sibling groups stay together. You find a lot of instances where sibling groups have to get split up into different foster homes because foster homes are just not big enough in accommodating the numbers of the kids. So you might get kids that are in the home have to be removed. So even though it's 10 kids, like month 1, month 2, month 3, I might not start off with 10 kids. It might be 6 kids. It might even be 2. It might be 3. So that, and these kids, when they come, they're not, like Ms. Taylor had said, they're not staying for long periods of time. So they'll probably be with us for like a maximum of 30 to 45 days until we can find a more stable placement for them. If it's that they're getting adopted, that's the route that they would take. If it's they're going to be in a long-term foster care placement, that's exactly where they'd be placed. So with us, it's a therapeutic youth. We're just going to be teaching these kids, working with them, dealing with a lot of their trauma so that they can then be placed in an environment that's more long-term for them.
Thank you very much.
Madam Chair, we now have Nicole Calhoun with her hand raised.
Nicole?
Madam Chair, I wanted to make sure that it's understood that I have no problem with the help of foster children. My issue is the house that they're trying to use. I feel that a better facility can be made for safety purposes, and thank you.
Appreciate it.
Chair?
Yes.
Chair, we now have Audra Carter. Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Barnes?
Yes.
Yeah,
Madam Chair, I would just like to ask a question, make a statement. What if this particular house was just where a family was taking in foster kids? Would they have to go through all of this to take in foster kids? Because I'm feeling both ways here. Is that are we judging on what site here? If she was just opening up a foster home saying, come on into my house, you guys got somewhere to live. We don't have to go through all this improvement. They can have how many kids? As big as a family takes.
I think that would be a question for Mr. Riccardi. I don't know the answer. That's a question I don't have an answer for. Thank you, Ms. Barnes. Let's see if Mr. Riccardi can either respond or type something. And in the meantime, we also have Audra Carter with her hand raised again, Madam Chair.
Yeah, that's what I was going to comment on what the two women stated. I have no issue with the functioning of the home because, like I said, my experience with the kids, even the gender doesn't matter. She just has to comply with the sleeping accommodations. I have no problem with the functioning, but it's just the magnitude and the rezoning from a residential purpose. That's my huge concern. And the level of kids and the level of activity. So even if it was downgraded to a foster home, but the person would have to live there. And I think that she said she could not live there. So I don't know, but I just wanted to just put it out there that I have no issue with the functioning of the home. It's just the level.
Thanks, Audra. Appreciate that. Yes, that's good clarification. Okay. If there are no other questions by the board, I would like to entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, I'm sorry, I would like to see the floor plan for the first floor again.
Right there. That should be it right there.
I don't have anything on mine.
On the right-hand side. Oh, you're not seeing it?
I have a black screen.
I got a black screen too.
Oh, okay. I don't understand why that's happening.
I've never had a first floor. I've had second floor and basement. Never seen the first floor.
Let me stop sharing and reshare. Something must have went wrong.
Hello, everybody.
Okay, do you see anything now?
Basement? Oh, okay. I see first floor now.
And the second floor, please, Maurice.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, to the applicant, will you have adult supervision, living in the house as well as the children 24/7?
Yes.
All right, so your ratio is 2 children to 1 adult, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Are you willing to limit the children in the building to 4?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
5 to 6.
And are you willing to not subdivide the living room and the dining room on the first floor?
Yes.
In light of COVID and the fact that the children may have to be homeschooled, I think you need more communal space on the first floor.
Yes. My plan was to at least use the outside as a deck, just so that the kids can be able to go play outside.
Sure, but that's not going to be 12 months out of the year, so I can appreciate
Correct. And I just asked that at least, if however things go, if I'd be able to at least take 6, because sometimes sibling groups are a little larger.
I'm going to ask if you'd be willing to just take single sex.
Okay.
And would you be willing to keep that to probably, given the age bracket, 10 to 17, and I realize you were thinking sibling groups, but I think if you have more than one family of siblings, it concerns me that there's a potential for, sexual interaction given that age bracket. So I think it's safe to keep it as a single sex, to keep it all female. With those answers, Madam Chair, I would take it back to you and see if there's any other comment. And
Madam Chair, I believe a lot of people have their hands raised, but I think some of them are for previous. Audra Carter, did you just raise your hand again?
Unless you have something new to add.
I did.
If you have something new to add to the discussion.
It's something new.
Okay, go right ahead, Ms. Carter. I'm sorry.
Speaking in favor for Ms. Kunjani, the restrictions, if she's going to do foster parenting, those restrictions, and like I said, my main thing is just not having this house rezoned, but the restrictions that will be imposed on her, she won't have the control of when they call. Like she said, it may be a sibling group. So for her to say, I only take the girls, I only take the boys, she's going to have to separate brother and sister. That's how the foster system works. The need is there. Like I said, I want to see her dream fulfilled if this is really her passion, but with her hands tied, like the limit of kids or the sex of the kids, she won't be able to do that. It'll be very restrictive, especially in the middle of the night when somebody done went out on a drug binge and these scared kids are down at the county. It might be brother and sister that she might have to take.
Thank you very much.
That's going to be impractical. But once again, this I just want to reiterate the zoning, what I'm opposed to. That's all.
Thank you very much again, Ms. Carter. Okay, Ms. Faith, you were going to introduce a motion?
I was looking to see if there was any other comments from board members.
Ball's in your court, darling.
I have none.
Any other comments? Madam Chair, given all the testimony we've heard, both pro and con, and it's a difficult situation. There's been significant financial investment put into the house already. And it's unfortunate that it looks like that it wasn't clear communication. And we have postponed this already. I believe that we have to get calendar 20-72 not be approved.
Second.
What was the motion?
Call the roll.
Mr. Donovan is asking for a clarification on what the motion was.
The motion is to not approve the variances for this case, Mr. Donovan.
Madam Chair, Mr. Alvarado is asking if he can ask for an additional postponement.
Did he get one
We
yet?
have a motion and we have a second. Is it too late in Robert's rules?
Can I ask for a postponement?
I'm questioning Robert's rules. Can we?
Did we have a second, Madam Chair? Or was Mr. Donovan just asking a question?
I was asking for a clarification on what the motion was.
Right, we did not actually have a second, I don't believe.
No, Carol, Madam Chair seconded it.
Okay, all right, sorry.
I think Ms. Wagner would probably be the person to tell us if.
All right, Ms. Wagner.
I don't have the rules handy, but I believe that you cannot ask for, well, you could ask for a I believe that you should not ask for a postponement after a motion has been made and seconded, or the motion could be withdrawn if the board thinks a postponement would be appropriate.
That's our ruling.
Madam Chair. Okay, Mr. Alvarado had his hand up. I don't know if you want to take the comments at this point.
Yes, I can take a comment. Chris?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The reason I was asking for postponement is that there are a number of suggestions that were made by board members in terms of what it is that the applicant could possibly do. And I think that rather than closing things off, there's an opportunity for the applicant to be able to respond back to the board. Believe me, I don't want to see, additional postponements. You've seen me in different cases where we've come back time and time again. And the amount of hair that I've lost as a result of that. But I think that there's an opportunity here for a good faith response to what the board's asking for. Thank you.
Thank you. It would be up to Ms. Faith, who made the original.
Right. Madam Chair, given the comment by Mr. Alvarado representing the city, if he is going to lead as being facilitator and negotiator on this motion, and agree to a postponement so that he can work with the parties involved to become some resolution.
So you're withdrawing your motion?
I would withdraw my motion.
I'll withdraw my second. Mr. Alvarado, my charge to you would be to include all of the neighbors in any discussions you're going to have, kind of a community meeting.
Yes, ma'am, I can do that. We did put out
And
the
we would
original community.
probably have to not accept these layouts, because if we're going to do any of the suggestions the board has made, then we would need new plans also.
Yes, ma'am.
How about, what do you need, a month? Because you got a holiday coming up. Mrs. Cooper, give me a date.
Madam Chair, we have September 14th, which is filling up pretty quick, or September 21st.
Let's do the 21st. Give them enough time to work with all the people.
I had a question. Can I ask a question?
Hold on one moment. I don't know who was speaking, to be honest with you.
Was that Miss?
I know we finished this discussion about postponement.
Okay.
I think that was the applicant asking a question.
Oh.
The 21st works, Madam Chair, for us, so we can postpone to the 21st.
Okay, applicant, what's your question?
At this point, would you recommend me continuing to work on the property? Because I've already put in a lot of money, so I'm just trying to figure out, can I continue to still put in money for renovations?
Madam Chair, this is Lori Wagner from law, and there's no she can rehabilitate property as she wishes, but it is clear based on this, what's, come out at this meeting, this is not an allowed use. She's asking for a use variance, which is something that doesn't belong in a residential neighborhood. So if your renovations are based on any particular plan and it's planned use, then you probably don't want to continue them. I don't want to be in a position where the city's saying, you're going to be allowed to do this, so go ahead. So it's really up to you.
Well, Madam Chair, also, if you don't have permits to do the interior work, then obviously you shouldn't be doing that as well. And I think Mr. Riccardi has stated that, they haven't even done a review on the interior work yet because they have to get the zoning done first.
Right.
So, you could continue to do anything that doesn't require a permit.
Yeah, okay. Understand?
Can I ask a question? Where can I have something like this?
I didn't understand the question. I didn't hear it.
I think she's asking what part of the city, in other words, what zoning classification she's asking. Is that what you're asking, ma'am?
Yes.
It was, I have just destroyed my.
Mr. Riccardi.
It's a 2-family residential district, a B1.
So I think that's a Mr. Riccardi question, or maybe Ms. Kukla can answer that. I'm pretty sure it probably in multifamily and above.
Yes, Madam Chair, per the write-up, this is Liz Kukla. Per the write-up, it states that it is first permitted in a multifamily residential district and only when at least 15 feet from another premises. So they would have to have a pretty big yard. I believe that we're talking about the buildings as well. So the building would have to be 15 feet from another building on the lot.
But that's only if it's in a multifamily. The further up you go in the zoning code, then those restrictions would not be there, correct?
Yeah, that's most likely correct. I don't have the code in front of me, but the local retail district, there are residential properties in that next district up or down in the.
This is Lori Wagner. I just have a concern about us being in a position where we're giving the applicant erroneous information.
Yes.
So can somebody from planning sit down with her and tell her, go through this and tell her what districts this would be permitted as a matter of right, what districts would they need a area variance, because I think in multifamily they would need an area variance because it's supposed to be at least 15 feet from a property used for residential purposes. I just don't want to be in a position where we're giving her false information.
Thank you, Laura. I was trying to suggest that Nicole be involved in Mr. Alvarado's meeting. Would you advise him? I think he's gone off my screen anyway. So would you let him know, Maurice, please?
Yes, Mr. Alvarado is still here, and and Nicole is also here, so I think she'd be more than willing to join in.
Chris, okay, Christopher, I see he signed on with the chat. I agree. Okay, fine. Thank you all very much.
Madam Chair, this is Liz Kukla again. So is the postponement is being made to allow time for the appellant to hold a public meeting with Chris Alvarado in Slavic Village, or is she supposed to be just meeting with Chris Alvarado and also revising the plans? Can we get clarification again on that?
That's what I know.
It is very difficult for me to understand, Mrs. Kukla. Either you're too close to that microphone or whatever. I'm not sure. It's me, I'm sure, because I've got hearing aids coming.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know if you can hear me any better. I might have been a little bit further away from my phone.
Okay.
So we're postponing this case to allow time for a community meeting with Slavic Village, is this correct?
Mr. Alvarado just posted that he wanted a meeting with him and Ms. Calhoun and the owner. First of all, then it went off my screen now right away, so I can't see if there was more. And Ms. Calhoun agreed, yes, okay. Yes.
And then they will set up a meeting. They will set up a meeting with the neighbors as well.
Right. Yes, he's nodding his head. Right.
Ms. Carter, I had my hand raised for quite a while. Can I ask a question?
Yeah, at this point, I'm not sure if the chairman wants to take any more public comment.
Now, you're going to meet with the local development corporation and the planner, Ms. Carter. He's going to have a meeting with everybody. Okay?
Another meeting, so you guys changed your mind about, you had already ruled, so that's changed, so you guys are gonna consider rezoning.
We postponed it. So there could be more discussion with the neighbors and all.
They've had several meetings, I don't know what that's gonna prove.
Well, I don't either, but.
To clarify, we had not already approved the motion.
Yes, right.
The motion had been made with comment from the CDC. The motion was withdrawn. So the motion had not passed. So based on the comment of the CDC, it is moving forward with a meeting with city planning, the CDC, and the neighbors will be involved. Just to clarify that for the neighbor.
Thank you very much, Ms. Faith.
Madam Chair, this is Lori Wagner. Just to clarify, I think what's been stated by the board and possibly not stated is that the purpose of the meeting is to review the planned operation and see if there's changes that could be made that would satisfy the neighbors.
Correct.
I know the neighbors have already discussed the proposed operation with 10 children and 5 employees, and some of them are opposed to it. I think what the board was discussing and what planning will be discussing with the neighbors and the applicant is whether changes in this operation can be made that might satisfy people. Just to clarify that.
Madam Chair, I just wanted to point out that Mr. Alvarado and Ms. Calhoun have typed their email addresses in the chat window. So if anybody would like to reach out from them from this case, please do so.
Yes, Ms. Carter, did you understand? You can contact them directly.
I understand, but I just don't think it's fair. I think the ruling could have been made on the zoning issue. What difference is it going to make how she operates?
You'll have to ask Mr. Alvarado. He asked for the postponement. Okay, well, thank you very much.
I move that we close this section out, please.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you all.
Thank you.
Now to old business. 1, 2, 3, 4, 9, and 10. Without objection, board?
Without objection.
And we need an affirmation on those 2 addresses on Lorraine for Assad's Bakery. Without objection?
Without objection.
And we need a postponement on 4700 Lorraine Avenue. The councilman needs more time to conduct a community meeting. Without objection?
Without objection.
Without objection.
Do we want to schedule that now, Mrs. Kukla?
Yes, I think September 14th will still work since we postponed that other case to the 21st. So if September 14th is all right with you all.
All right, super.
Without objection.
Without objection.
Without objection.
And thank you all. Have a great week.
Madam Chair, Liz, you had me put all these other items in old business. Was there any need for this? Also had me add the entire next agenda on here.
Yeah, if anybody wanted to take a look at it to see if there's anything, I just had it available just in case anybody wanted to see the items that were have been submitted to us for the cases that we were ratifying. So those were the first pages. And then I just wanted to take a quick look at the 17th. I don't see anything controversial that's coming up. So I just wanted to see that. Just wanted to show you guys what's coming up.
Good. We'll see you at 9:30 next Monday.
Everyone have
Thanks,
a great
good.
weekend.
Oh, thank you.
Bye.
You too. Bye.
Bye.